What's up, you guys?
Alright, you guys. The ban list, it happened. And I know my video on it, my live react was, in my opinion, super unprofessional because, it was just like me in my car, like just was like screaming and just like, oh my god, I can't believe this happened. But you guys really enjoyed that. But I felt like what I failed to do was actually talk about like the impact of this list on the format. So we're going to go more in depth this time. And I really am going to talk about why I feel like, and I asked the question, is this the best ban list we've gotten in years? I want to say yes. So we're going to get into it. So the cards that were banned, we're going to start with, of course, with my baby. Fairy Tale Snow is gone. With Fairy Tale Snow gone, my deck loses a lot of steam. Now, you guys know I was playing the Hand Loop Thunder Dragon deck, and, my deck was not the only deck affected. And that was one thing that I failed to really talk about when I went over, just the initial react. I think I was just thinking about my deck. I was about to play at locals, so I was just like, oh my god. I ended up getting third, by the way, in case you guys wondered. I'll have a deck profile of that and talk about the changes I'll be making going forward, because there is a new game plan to play the deck, and just play it in a different way. But Snow was really important for a lot of decks. It was very important for the Thunder Dragon deck. It was very important for the BA deck. It was very important for any kind of Lightsworn deck. I feel really bad for the Lightsworn decks because they played multiple Snows. I only had to play one Snow to get it to work in Thunder Dragon. So without that card, kind of sucks. But the card needed to go. The card was super ridiculous. It was like a +7 with Thunder Dragons. It was just insane. Like, that card was ridiculous. And as much as I'm going to miss it, I do understand why it was hit. Next was Grinder Golem. I'm going to talk about Grinder Golem and Galaxy Tomahawk together, and the reason is because those cards are token generator cards. If you notice on this list, they addressed a lot of token generation cards. They don't want that in the game anymore. They don't want you to be able to just basically just summon a bunch of tokens for free for like no reason. And Grinder Golem was a free link too. It was literally link Kribo Guy into Reproducus, into Summon Sork, into like everything. Like, it was ridiculous. You then had the ability to Yazi pop the Grinder Golem, get your Mare, spawn a bunch of tokens. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Like, you guys should know by now. They don't want the decks to abuse that. They also don't want level 7 decks to use Galaxy Tomahawk. And let's face it, a lot of the dangers like Nessie and stuff like that are level 7, so they're very easy to exploit and to make Tomahawk. So that's why they did what they did. Next, of course, was Gumblar. The one and only time I played Gumblar, of course it gets banned. They're like, damn it, Slim, you turn to the dark side. We gotta hit it. I fully understand why. That card is absolutely insane. I actually Gumblar'd someone for all 6 cards at the locals before top cut. Like, I literally Gumblar'd him turn 1 for all 6 cards. It was ridiculous. So, card needed to go. Card was degenerate. Not being able to play with your hand is ridiculous. Like, I loved it just because I was doing that plus Colossus. I mean, that was like a ridiculous, like, overkill. But, I mean, it is what it is. Card's gone. It needed to get out of the game. I'm not, one thing you guys know about me, I am never biased, even if I play a card like Snow, like any of these cards. I played a lot of these cards. I even played Grinder Golem. I understand why these cards got hit, and I fully support their idea for doing this because we need cards like this out of the game. They are not healthy for our game. So, bye, Gumblar. You will not be missed. I'm glad I got to play you at least once. Or twice, technically. Next is Soul Charge. How long have we been talking about this? This card is ridiculous. I Soul Charged for 4 monsters in that same game, and it won me the game, and it is why I was able to Gumblar for 6. Any card that lets you get like a +5 at the cost of your life points, any card that lets you just win the game automatically, lets you turn around any, misfires that could have happened, any card that got hit, you just bring them all back for the cost of your life points. Cards needed to go for a really long time, so I am not surprised at all that Soul Charge is gone. It is a card that just has needed to go for a really long time because decks were winning off it alone, so makes perfect sense. And lastly, but not least, Rongo Bongo is gone. So, we knew something was going to happen that was going to touch Rongo. We just didn't know what it was going to be. Was it going to be Rongo? Was it going to be the number 75? Rongo is the better call. And the reason I say that is because a lot of decks, or not a lot of decks, but certain decks want to be able to play Gospel Shadow, Gospel, whatever it's called, Ghost Shadow, I don't know what its name is, number 75. They're able to use it in another deck. So that by hitting Rongo, they eliminate the problem outright, and we don't have to deal with it anymore. Overall, my thoughts on the ban cards? I gotta give it up to you guys. I gotta give it up to Konami. You guys did your thing. You definitely did your thing on the ban cards. All these cards needed to get hit. You addressed them all. And as hard as it is for me to say this, I thank you for that. God, I'm gonna miss Snow. It's just real, like low key. Like, I am gonna miss Snow. Okay, the cards I got limited to 1. So we have Scapegoat. Again, this is a card that produces a lot of tokens. You guys already know this. I guess the card is fine at 1. Trickstars are really abusing it. Mech Knights were abusing it in the beginning. Any deck that could play it was abusing it. I guess at 1, I guess it's kind of like one of those you either have it or you don't cards. And yeah, Trickstars will still be played because they didn't get touched. They still will be able to play it, but even at 1, you can still use it. So, I mean, it's still a good card. You draw it, you draw it, you don't, you don't. Next was Midbreaker Field. Another thing that they wanted is they wanted the ability, they wanted to take away that option that just basically says, well, none of your cards in hand work against my monsters. I can do my full combo with Gumblar and you can't do anything about it. It was interesting that they limited this card to 1. I actually didn't even think of this card. It just never would have been a thought on my prediction list, which I never got to make because the list just dropped so quickly. But yeah, Midbreaker Field, no problem with it. Brilliant Fusion. That one hurt. That one really hurt. You took Snow and 2 of my Brilliant Fusions. Yeah. All the memories of just activating Brilliant Fusion for Seraph Knight and even activating it to summon Prismora and now back to Seraph Knight. It's kind of funny. Everything came full circle for me. I started with Seraph Knight. I went to Prismora. I came back to Seraph Knight because Snow is a broken card and now I can't even play Snow and can play 1 Brilliant Fusion. Is it worth playing? Time will tell. Will we play the Predaplan engine? Again, time will tell. I don't have any answers for you guys yet, but it is something that is in the back of my mind. I'm thinking maybe there'll be a way to play it. The Predaplan engine with it, something like that. It is searchable with Instant Fusion as well, so something to think about. But card's been played in a lot of strategies. Card is insane. I think anything that gives you an additional normal is nuts. Next they hit Greffer. Not much to say about this. Arma's at 1, Greffer's at 1. Same thing basically. Like this is just a card that we should have seen going to 1. I think it should have gone to 1 on the last list. So nothing really to say. Chaos Emperor Dragon and Slash Draw. I don't care. I don't care. The Chaos Emperor Dragon has a terrible new effect. It's terrible. I don't care about it. It's not the worst card in the world, but I just don't like its errata. I don't respect it because it doesn't feel like the original Chaos Emperor Dragon I grew up with. So it's my honest opinion. I don't care about it. Slash Draw had to go because of the FTK. Even though it's not consistent, you'll just never be able to pull it off again. So that's why they hit that card. They didn't hit Saryuja. You know, so now it's, do we play Saryuja Turbo? Who knows? But yeah, Slash Draw got hit. Now Gold Sark. This one, you would think, oh my god, Slim, you have to be pissed about this one. A little bit. A little bit, I'm not gonna lie. It does kind of suck. But 1 Gold Sark, 3 Lone Wolf. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. It's almost like the same card, except one's a monster and it's a dark, which can help make Curious, because Curious is still a card that we can play. So I'm fine with Sark going to 1. I knew it was gonna happen. I just didn't know it was gonna happen so quickly, like right before Chicago, because it changed my whole deck plans. But it is what it is. Welcome back, Construct. Welcome back. That's all I'm gonna say. Hope players try to play Shaddoll Fusion and stuff like that. Sure it, again, welcome back. Remember you guys, this guy right here, this guy, never played Necros format. That's when I was on my hiatus. Those of you that have been with me on this channel since day 1, you guys remember that's when I was on my hiatus for over a year plus from the channel for playing the game in general, and I did not play any of Necros format. I do not know what it's like to play against Necros at full power or any of that stuff. I don't know what it's like to even see Sure be played. So I welcome it back to all the Necros players that are excited. We have this, we have dual power to add to it. It's pretty crazy. So I welcome it back. And last but not least, on limited to 1, Cyberstein. I don't think this card is going to do anything. This card is really gimmicky, and you pay 5,000 life points and you get Effect Validator and Permanence. I mean, you just cry. So OCG has this card. It doesn't do anything. Same rules apply. On to, and then just lastly, again, I'm very happy there was nothing put to 2. Like I said before, Simo had the best point. The semi-limited is one of the most pointless parts of the list. Who cares if you put a card to 2? Like, honestly, it's just not that great a thing. It's not that exciting. Putting it to 2 from 3 to 2 makes a slight difference in probability, but overall is not like a be-all, end-all. So, and then just on the unlimited cards, Wind-Up Magician, it's fine. We don't have Zen Mighty. Infernity Barrier, I mean, Infernities are missing a lot of stuff, so same thing. One that's really interesting was Eradicator Epidemic Virus. This one really is interesting because I think this card is very powerful, and I think that a lot of people don't realize like the decks that can use it and what it can do. It's really good against Striker and Geist, which are going to be some of the best decks of the format, if not the best decks of the format. So it's definitely an option that you have at your disposal, and decks can play it. So I think it's a really cool card to have back at 3. TG Hyper Librarian. I mean, there's no real crazy synchro spam deck, so I guess you can have that card back in multiple. The one card that I'm not gonna lie, like it kind of scares me is Stormforth back at 3. Stormforth back at 3 is no nonsense. I mean, True Dracos are gonna abuse that card. I don't know if it means Monarchs will come back, but you best believe Dracos are going to play this card in their deck at 3 because this card is nuts. Shout out to Sloppy Toppy. You already know. I got you on the shout out, bro. I can't wait to see what he does with that deck. You already know. That's my boy James Sled. You already know he's about to do some... Ooh, he's about to do some crazy stuff with that deck. Interrupted Kaiju Slumber to 3. Interesting. Last time we had this card at 3 was what? Zoo format? They're really promoting that new Kaiju card, and they're promoting board wipes. We still have Raigeki Dark Hole, and now we have this, and I think this is the best one. This card is insane. This card, like, if it resolves, it really screws strikers because it puts a monster in the main monster zone, so, like, they're not able to, you know, activate any of their spells. It's pretty nuts. I'm actually excited to see what it does because this card's really good. And, people are like, oh my god, this card is so unfair. I mean, you can Ash it. Remember that. You can Ash it, so... It's definitely an option that you have, and also if you have Colossus, like, you can save Colossus, and also, like, if you their in graveyard effect won't matter because they can't add to hand with Colossus on board, so remember that. So it'd be interesting to see what Slumber does. I think we're definitely going to see more Kaijus being played, especially in decks like BA, Crusadia, etc., that want to go second and just slap down a monster and then just kill you. So very, very interesting call to bring it back to 3. Excite on Night. I mean, I don't know how to feel about this. It's kind of like... like, what am I supposed to say? Like, it'd be interesting to see if any decks play this, but I mean, there's not really that many level 4, like, toolbox decks going around, so we'll see if people play this. It'd be interesting, that's for sure. Necron's a Brionac to 3. All I remember, because you guys might not remember, but I used to have an eBay store, like a small one I used to do back when I was on my hiatus. The only thing I did with Yu-Gi-Oh! Was actually sell cards, and I remember pulling a Brio, and it's actually one of my videos on this channel somewhere where I say I actually pull a Brio from a box, and I just remember this card being worth like over $100, like it was ridiculous, and this card is still insane. This card being at 3 is nuts, along with the shirt and with prep at 3, so like I said, it'll be interesting to see what Necros do. I'm not going to get mad if I play against Necros. I actually want to see what they do since I never got to play against them all those years ago. So definitely interesting. And then the last two is Nectar Hornet and Limited Removal. What am I supposed to say? I mean, Hornet back at 3. I mean, you don't have Dragonflies. I mean, yeah, you can use Hornet. People are scared of this card, but I mean, let's face it. There's a lot of protection in cards these days. You kind of want your cards to get popped and go to the graveyard anyway because another effect will resolve. So it'll be interesting to see what happens if this card will even be effective because of, like, you know, you can hit them with hand traps. I mean, it's the same thing. You still Valor and Impermanence, the Dragonfly, or whatever monster's trying to equip them, they just lose anyway. I don't think it's going to make Inzectors a super competitive deck. You might see it on the Rogue level, but I think that's honestly it. Limited Removal is scary just because Cosmos and Cyber Dragons, if they want to play this card in maximum capacity to overkill you, there you go. Okay, we ran through the whole list. Now, what are my thoughts? I got to give it up to Konami. Great list. Possibly one of the best lists we've ever had. You did a lot of fan service. You fixed a lot of the unfair things that happened in this game. Very happy for that. Where I question this list is why was there no hits to Altergeist and no hits to Striker? In my head, I tried to think about it. Strikers, in a sense, got more support. They got that new Link monster, but that's about it. Why did they not touch Engage? Why did they not touch Widowmaker? Why did they not touch any of that stuff? Same thing with Geist. Why did they not touch anything in Geist that, you know, they got the new pot card? And the thing I will tell you guys, and I really want you guys to understand this if you take nothing else away from this video, in a sense, Strikers, Geist, and Thunder Dragons, they are more fair at playing the game than Rongo was. The way they play their game is more fair, especially now with the hits to Thunder Dragon, because I could you know, make the argument that no, Thunder Dragons isn't fair. Gumball for 6 is not fair with Snow, you know, etc. But now they're putting out Colossus, which can be answered. Strikers, they don't really do anything unfair. Now, I know you guys will say, but Slim, they just activate Engage a million times a turn. I mean, yeah, but, you know, they require setup. They just don't, you know, open one card and then just, you know, it's like auto game. Even when they engage multiple times, it's not auto game. They have to put multiple spells in the grave. They have to play cards like Foolish Burial Goods and a crappy Metal Foes Fusion to even get, you know, those extra spells in grave. They have to do a lot of things to get from point A to point B to point C. And I think in Konami's eyes, and I think if you really think about it, and trust me, this is very hard for me to admit too, because I've really had to do a lot of thinking. The decks are kind of fair. Altergeist, I think, is inferior to Sky Strikers when you take away Secret Village of the Spellcasters. Secret Village of the Spellcasters is why that deck will destroy Sky Strikers. They already have a great Thunder Dragon matchup, not even gonna lie, my matchup against them is just god-awful. But Strikers versus Geist, if they are the best decks, if they are projected to be the best decks. Everyone is saying Geist and Striker. Striker is a superior deck for its toolbox, its utility, its recovery, everything. Geist is pretty straightforward. It's like summon a monster, set some back row. It's a stun and control deck. The one thing that Geist have going for them, though, is they have 8 copies. That's right, 8 copies of Secret Village, which is basically an Imperial Order. So technically 9, because you have the 3 Village, you have 3 Metaverse, 2 Terraforming. That's 8 plus Imperial Order, 9. 9 cards that say, guess what, Sky Strikers, you don't get to play. And guess what? Not only do you not get to play, you got to play through my traps. And if I strike your first Link monster, you're done. It's pretty crazy. But take away those unfair floodgates. Take away floodgates from Altergeist, and what do you have? That's the honest reality. I played the deck. I love the deck. Trust me, that's my honest opinion. Maybe these decks were not touched because maybe in a sense they view them as more fair, but I want to know what you guys think. Overall, I think the list is great. I think the list did a lot for our game. It's made it a lot healthier. And I'm excited. I got a lot of changes to make to my deck. I have a new game plan to make. I think, you know, decks like Draco will be back. I think decks like Pendulum will see more representation. They're still a very good deck. I think versions of Thunder Dragons, Strikers, Geist, you know, we're going to have a pretty big format in the sense there's going to be a lot of decks. Now that we don't have these auto-win turn 1 decks like Rongo or anything that gumblars you for your whole hand, you know, or has an auto-win button, decks can be played again. You can play Yu-Gi-Oh! Again. There's none of this, oh, I didn't get to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Because my opponent Rongo'd me. It's not going to happen anymore. So, overall, I really think they did a great job. I'm not going to sit here and be biased. My deck got the dick. You guys already know. That's my saying. My deck got destroyed. My version of this deck got destroyed. But my deck is not down and out. And none of your guys' decks are down and out. Look at what was hit and fill in the missing pieces. There you go. Take the pieces out that have been taken away from you and fill it with new pieces. And that's how you do it. That's how you solve the puzzle that is this game. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm glad that this was more professional, more, you know, in-depth, and just really able to tell you guys about this format. These are my thoughts on the format. I'm fine with the list. A little scared because Chicago's coming up really quick, but you know, once a duelist, always going to be prepared. So we'll see what happens. But if you guys are going to White State Chicago, let me know in the comments below. It'd be great to see you guys there. I get in sometime Friday. And yeah, I'm happy with the list. I welcome it, and I hope you guys do too, and realize that yes, while Strikers and Guys didn't get hit, they'll probably get hit on the next list. So we just have to go through another format of this. We've done it before. We'll do it again. And remember, we could always be in a worse format. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.